Date Night with Steve Carell and Tina Fey. Ocean's 11, great. I have all 3 of the Ocean's movies. I might have already hit those on my on one of my earlier videos, actually. The Departed, excellent film. Remake of Infernal Affairs, I believe, was the name of the movie. Delicatessen, a really great French film. If you've never seen this, I would definitely recommend it. It's kind of like a weird post-apocalyptic movie about an apartment building full of people who kind of pay their way to stay there, and it's very interesting. It's a very interesting movie. It's a French movie. If you've never seen any of Jean-Pierre Jeunet's movie, he did City of Lost Children, and he did Alien Resurrection, which at the time when I saw Alien Resurrection, I hadn't seen this, and I didn't really know of his career. He did Amelie as well. He's a very interesting director, and I definitely say check that out, because him and a different guy directed it. Marc Caro. Very good movie. I definitely recommend it. We actually went and saw it at the Alamo at one point. Because before that I had only seen it in kind of a crappy quality download, and then we saw it at the Alamo, and then I finally bought it on Blu-ray when it came out. Because I think that was it was a like collection thing. Anyway, Deja Vu with this is a Tony Scott movie with another Denzel collaboration with his. I haven't seen this. It has Dean Cain in it. That's probably why. No, I'm kidding. It has Val Kilmer in it. Dean Cain's in this, right? Or is that a different movie I'm thinking of? Well, it has Val Kilmer either way. Defiance with Daniel Craig is a World War II movie. I've seen parts of this as well. I caught it on TV a while ago and I wanted to watch the rest of it, so that's why I bought it, but still haven't watched it yet. There's a lot of movies I haven't had time to get to yet. One day. Deep Impact, that's a great one. Morgan Freeman is the president. I wish Morgan Freeman really could be our president. Might be much better than the president we currently have. The Day, this is a film I bought only because Dominic Monaghan is in it, and I had heard good things about it, goodish things about it, and was interested to check it out because I like kind of seeing, watching kind of more indie-ish movies that don't really get kind of super major releases. Just because sometimes they can be surprising. I feel like Carriers with, if you ever saw Carriers with Chris Pine and Piper Perabo and Chris Maloney is in it at one point. That's a really kind of good under-the-radar movie that kind of was straight to DVD back in the day. Dawn of the Dead, which rip George A. Romero. My goodness, George Romero was super influential on film as a whole when it comes to zombies and all that jazz. And this is Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead. I love this movie so much. I've seen the only George Romero zombie movie I've seen is Land of the Dead, and that's an interesting one. It was kind of weird. I saw it around the time when Dawn of the Dead came out. Or well, it was a little bit after that, because that's when that came out. But very interesting, very interesting movie. You know, running zombies, all that jazz. Dawn of the Dead was pretty damn great. 40-Year-Old Virgin, this is one of Liz's favorite movies, and I love this movie as well. It's hilarious, endlessly quotable, and very good. Dances with Wolves, this is another one of the essentials that I really need to watch. I've always heard really great things about that one. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, I saw this in theaters, I haven't watched it since, but I bought it because I thought it was pretty good. Interested to go back and watch this a second time and see what I think about it all these years later, because it's pretty good. It's a Fincher movie. It's an interesting pick for a Fincher movie, I feel. The Crow, excellent movie. Brandon Lee's one of his first and final performances. He was killed during the filming of this movie, actually in Wilmington at the Screen Gems studio. That's where around where I used to live. I haven't seen any of the remake, or the sequels to this. They've been trying to remake it forever. Jason Momoa, I think, was slated last. I don't know if he still is. Hopefully he is, because he would be fucking awesome as the Crow. Crimson Peak. I really liked this movie a lot. Guillermo del Toro, certainly not what they were advertising it to be, but still a very good movie. Very good gothic romances. Guillermo del Toro dubs it. And you can't go wrong with Tom Hiddleston and the lady who plays Alice in Alice in the Wonderland. Alice and the Wonderland. I'd watch that. Alice and the Wonderlands. Mia Wasikowska. She's in that. And Jessica Chastain is deliciously evil, and Charlie Hunnam's in it for some reason. The Crazies, another Timothy Olyphant movie. I like Timothy Olyphant. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but I'm a big Timothy Olyphant fan, so he alone kind of sold me on this movie. Plus, it looked pretty good. It was a remake of the Wes Craven movie from back in the day, and it's decent. It's a decent movie. Cowboys and Aliens. This is another kind of decent movie. It's not terrible. It's not amazing. It's just, it is what it is, you know? Coriolanus, sounds like anus at the end, because it is anus. Coriolanus, this is a Shakespeare adaptation directed by Ralph Fiennes, the guy who plays Voldemort. He's right there. So it's Ralph Fiennes and Gerard Butler. I haven't seen this, but it looked really great, and I'm into Shakespeare and all that jazz, so one day I'll get to watch this. I've heard it's pretty good. The Witch, or The Vitch, this is an excellent movie. I love The Witch a lot. That was pretty damn good, and it's spooky as shit. Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick, great movie. Funny People, haven't seen it, but heard iffy things, but at the time, when I got it, I think it had better reviews. I think it's kind of, as the dust has settled, it's kind of not as well regarded, I don't know. Gangs of New York, I've seen a good chunk of that movie. It doesn't fully capture my interest. Daniel Day-Lewis is pretty good in it, though, and so is Leo. And Liam Neeson's pretty good at it, too. Have you seen In Bruges? Yes, I went through it. It's right around here somewhere. In Bruges is fantastic. I love that movie. Ghost Town, another Ricky Gervais movie that's... I haven't watched this one. I've watched The Image of Lying. I haven't watched that one yet. Get Smart with Steve Carell and Annie Hathaway. Get Low, I got this mainly because that was my nickname in high school, because that song came out when I was in high school. Get Low, Get Low. And it also has Chandler Riggs, Little Carl's in this movie. I got this around the time, actually, when we were talking to him in the Herschel's Land stuff. So, Little Carl's in it. Carl, get back in the car, Carl. Gattaca, I've never seen this movie, but I've listened to the soundtrack a million times. I've heard this is a really great movie. This is another one I need to get to soon. Gangster Squad, haven't seen this since the theaters. It's kind of a forgettable movie a bit, but really great cast. Gladiator, Russell Crowe. What can I say about that? What can I say except Russell Crowe? Oh, God. Cloverfield, this is a Matt Reeves film. He's directing, he did the last two Planet of the Apes movies, and he's directing the Batman. Super excited. Cloverfield's a great movie. Kind of the start of the pop of JJ's producing career, along with Lost and all the things that he had going on at the time, Alias. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. What a fun movie. It's a really fun movie. The second one's pretty good too. I fell asleep during it, at the theater though, but that was just because I hadn't slept much. Cloud Atlas. What a creative movie. This is a really weird one. I think it gets a lot of shit for some, you know, kind of whitewashing-ish reasons, because there's people kind of, there's different actors who play different ethnicities and characters throughout the movie, and maybe even genders. I think they switch around genders too. I'm pretty sure at one point Agent Smith is a woman. Hugo Weaving. And yeah, it's a very interesting movie. At this point, both of the Wachowskis have transitioned to female, so they're not the Wachowski brothers anymore. The Wachowski sisters technically, but they just go by the Wachowskis. Lana and I can't remember both their names. But I think they're interesting filmmakers. I wasn't crazy about Jupiter Ascending. No, that movie's not good. But this movie, I certainly think was their kind of last good one. It's interesting. If you haven't checked it out and you're interested in their movies, I'd say you'll probably end up liking it. It has a lot of interesting ideas in there, and it's kind of profoundish at some point. And it's interesting, the themes about just kind of changing through time and stuff like that. I think it's kind of a movie a little bit about their transition, a little bit, and is interesting. Contagion, that's a spooky one. If you're into Soderbergh and into spooky, if you want to feel like washing your hands a lot for the next couple weeks, watch that movie. The Conspirator, this is a really good Robert Redford movie. I actually went and saw this when my brother and I were in Niagara Falls for the Niagara Falls Film Fest, and this is a really good one, The Conspirator. It's about the conspirators that were tried after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. It's very interesting. This is a weird Photoshop, but The Company Men, I've heard good things about this one. I haven't seen it, but it's a very strange Photoshop. Ben Affleck's head everybody's heads look really kind of strangely Photoshopped on there. It's just like Contact. This is Interstellar before Interstellar was a thing. The Conjuring, fuck yes. Fuck yes. I don't have The Conjuring 2, but I do have The Conjuring because this movie's fantastic. I love The Conjuring 2. I love Annabelle. I like all the movies in this series so far. I'm excited for Annabelle 2. Excited for The Nun. Excited for Insidious Chapter 4. I love those movies. to no end. James Wan is a great horror filmmaker, and you definitely need to see those if you haven't. They're definitely my favorite horror movies behind like the Scream series and stuff like that. The Color of Money. I haven't seen this, but I've only heard good things. Tom Cruise, Paul Newman. Speaking of Tom Cruise, Collateral with him and Jamie Foxx. This is a really good one too. I definitely recommend watching that one if you haven't seen it. Tom Cruise plays a really great villain. Clue. Liz and I have watched this so many times. Clue is a movie I grew up with. Love Tim Curry. Love everybody in it. The part with oh crap. Madeline Kahn. There's the part where she's just like, the flames on the side of my face. When she's just talking about how angry she was, it's so hilarious. Dark Shadows. This is a weird one, but I think I really like this one. It's an odd mishmash of a Tim Burton movie, and yeah, it's weird but good. It's very soap opera-y. They jam a lot in there because it's based on an old soap opera. The Rundown with The Rock and Sean William Scott. This is definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah, can't say more about that. It's really good. Minority Report, one of my favorite Spielberg, Tom Cruise collaborations. They haven't had too many of those, but this is definitely the best. Minority Report. The Flowers of War with Christian Bale. This is another one I only watched about an hour or half an hour of. Interesting. It wasn't really grabbing me too much, but it's an incredible story. But Flight of the Phoenix, this is the remake. I don't know if I've watched this. I've seen the original. That's a great movie. But I've seen parts of this on TV and such. I bought it just because I love the original so much. I should probably buy the original at some point. From Hell with Johnny Depp and Heather Graham. I've never watched this. I think that's about the Jack the Ripper murders. The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. This is one of Peter Jackson's earlier movies. You definitely should see it. It was before Lord of the Rings. Michael J. Fox is really, really great. And it's a funny movie. It's weird. And there's a point towards the end where it's like, holy shit, this is really elaborate. There's just like a fight sequence going on with ghosts where people can see them and people can't see them, and there's just like all layers and elements, and it's really well done. Fracture with Anthony Hopkins and Ryan Gosling. I haven't seen much of this. I actually caught a little bit of it on TV recently. It's kind of like a courtroom sort of movie, investigation sort of dealy. The Fountain with Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz. Darren Aronofsky directed this one. Fantastic movie. Joe got me into that. Artist Joe. He got me into that movie, and really, really great. Great movie about coming to terms with death and all that jazz. Forrest Gump. Need I say more? Frost Nixon. Oh my gosh! If you're interested in Richard Nixon at all, and or you like Michael Sheen and or any of Ron Howard's movies and Frank Langella, excellent movie. Really, really good, fascinating. And it has Rebecca Hall in it, and I like anything with Rebecca Hall. The Fugitive, Harrison Ford. 30 minutes or less. This is the follow-up that Ruben Fleischer did right after Zombieland with Jesse Eisenberg and Aziz Ansari, Danny McBride, and Nick Swardson. Interesting movie, kind of forgettable. Haven't seen it since I watched it the first time when I bought it. But a little forgettable. Man, Jesse Eisenberg looks like a little baby on that cover. Boys. Amelie, speaking of Jean-Pierre Jeunet, I have Amelie. The American with George Clooney. Haven't seen that yet, but I mean, I love espionage-ish kind of movies, and I love George Clooney, so I'm sure that's great. American Beauty, another Sam Mendes movie. I haven't seen this. This is one of the essentials as well. I haven't seen this. I've always heard great things. Sam Mendes' first movie, he won Best Picture and Best Director, I believe. He definitely won Best Picture. Okay, not Best Director, but won Best Picture. And so it was his first movie, so he definitely got very lucky with that. But I've heard really great things, and I should really check it out. American Gangster, I haven't seen this since the theaters, but it was really good. Russell Crowe and Denzel, good old investigation kind of gangster movie. Yeah, well, it's American Gangster, so I would hope so. American History X / A History of Violence. We have a little bit of Cronenberg there with some Edward Norton American History X. Haven't really seen, I don't know why. I guess because they both have history in the title. They're not particularly the same movie, but interesting combo. I just bought it because, I wanted both of those, really. 2001: A Space Odyssey. I saw this in theaters not too long ago. That movie is nuts in the theaters. I love that movie. It's a little long, but I mean, if you can get through it, it's definitely worth it. It's like two movies in one, kind of, a little bit. The American President. I want to watch that and wish that was our president currently. American Psycho. I want to watch this and wish that was our president currently. No, I'm kidding. American Psycho, please, please, if you haven't seen it, watch this. This movie is, and whenever I talk about it, people are like, Dan, it's not a comedy. But this movie, like, I'm smiling ear to ear every single time I watch this movie. Christian Bale's performance in this movie is one of the best performances I've ever seen in a movie. He's amazing. It's definitely the best performance he's ever given. And the movie is just deliciously fucked up. It's great. The Sixth Day, I haven't seen this in a while, but this is a weird one with clones and Arnold, and it's a weird one. 3:10 to Yuma, another great Christian Bale Russell Crowe collaboration. They haven't collaborated together, but before this, or after, I don't believe. But very, very well done. Directed by James Mangold, the guy who did the Wolverine movies recently. He did the Wolverine and Logan. Really, really great movie. Has a lot of great actors in it, and I love it. Got to see it in theaters with my, it's a remake, I got to see it in theaters with my grandfather and my father, and they both loved it a lot. And I remember my dad, or my grandfather was like, that guy who played, he was talking about Christian Bale, but he was like, that guy is the spitting image of James Brolin. And I was like, and I looked up James Brolin later, I was like, oh my god, Christian Bale does look exactly like James Brolin. And I was watching an interview with Josh Brolin recently, and he was talking about how, he was like, yeah, you know, people, because, you know, James Brolin, or Josh Brolin doesn't look like that much like James Brolin. But he was talking about the similarity. He's like, yeah, it's, you know, it's like, he's the son that, you know, my dad had in secret and went off, and I'm, you know, the bastard child. It was pretty funny. Air Force One, get off my plane. And 50-50 with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, directed by Jonathan Levine. Interesting one. And Anna Kendrick, yeah, I forgot Anna Kendrick was in that. Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard is a dickhead in this movie, but she's meant to be. I guess it was kind of based on Evan Goldberg's kind of brief run with cancer and all that jazz. The American Pie films, it's every single American Pie film. I like these movies. They're definitely, they're not really a guilty pleasure. I think they're just a pleasure. Interesting films, very raunchy. Defined a generation of horny teens. 21 Jump Street, I don't have 22 Jump Street, but it's a hilarious movie. Like that one a lot. I like 22 Jump Street a lot as well. Hope they end up getting that Men in Black 22 Jump Street sequel thing off the ground. That would be hilarious if they end up doing that. If they can get Will Smith, at least Will Smith, that'd be amazing. And maybe a cameo from Tommy Lee. Another Terry Gilliam film, 12 Monkeys. I've never seen this. I know they made a TV show on Sci-Fi about it. 10 Things I Hate About You. Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger in this kind of teeny bop rom-com. The Joker and Robin are in this. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Heath Ledger share multiple scenes together. And I'm like, Robin, watch out, it's the Joker. Just a good teen flick that I loved growing up. American Hustle. I watched this not too long ago. It was kind of eh. I thought it was alright. It wasn't amazing. Critics definitely love this movie. Had 10 Academy Award nominations. I certainly, the wardrobe was amazing. But I thought it was a little eh. I thought it was a little, I didn't think it was amazing. Whiplash. This was amazing. Whiplash is so fantastic. Love this movie very, very much. J.K. Simmons, I will watch him in anything. I've always been a huge fan of his. Back to the Law and Order days. He played Skoda, I think was his name. He was the dude. Friday the 13th, Killer Cut, Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, and the Freddy vs. Jason. So this is the remake, and Freddy vs. Jason collection thing on Blu-ray. I haven't seen the newest Friday the 13th. Liz and I were going through each and every single one of them and watching them, and then we actually watched all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets recently. So yeah, it was interesting going through all those. The remake of Nightmare on Elm Street sucks. Fargo. That's a good one. We watched. Liz and I watched that pretty recently too. A League of Their Own, excellent movie. Don't leave home without it. Hitchcock. We watched this recently. It's pretty good. I would watch more of these honestly if they made more with Anthony Hopkins about the making of other movies that he did. But and they kind of seem the way that they tell the story. It certainly could do more, but. We'll see if they ever do any more of those. Probably not at this point. It's been a while. Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, and Anchorman. Both Anchorman movies. Both are excellent. I love those very, very much. Anastasia. I've seen parts of this growing up. Bought it on Blu-ray because Liz really likes it. And, yeah. This is the one with, what's it called, right? A Gary Oldman film. Wait, did Gary Oldman? Don Bluth and Gary Oldman. Oh, Gary Goldman. Good old Gary Goldman. Whatever. The Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds. I've never seen it. I don't know why I bought it, honestly, because I don't know if I'll ever end up watching it one day. Based on a true story. Now we're getting to the last bit here out of the box is all of my Batman cartoon movies. These are all the ones I own currently. I need to get a lot more. There's a lot of I've missed recently, and I haven't even watched all of these, so yeah. We have Batman Return of the Joker. It's Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. This is fantastic. This is a really great way to bring Mark Hamill into the Batman Beyond world with Kevin Conroy and all that jazz. Really, really great. I definitely recommend that. Batman Under the Red Hood, my favorite of the animated movies. So fantastic, so great. Jason Isaac plays Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, which is a really great casting for that. Bruce Greenwood plays Batman in this. He's an excellent choice for Batman. And it's just really, really good voice cast. John DiMaggio plays the Joker. He's great. Black Mask is great. And Jensen Ackles is really great as Red Hood. It's just a good cast, really good animation, and a really great story. First time I'd ever seen that story before, so really fantastic. Then I have Batman Returns, or no, The Dark Knight Returns. Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Part 2. I've watched Part 1, I haven't watched Part 2 yet. That was years and years and years ago. But very interesting, really great casting with Frank... RoboCop, what's his name? Peter Weller. What the fuck? Why was I thinking Frank something? Frank Miller is the guy, the artist and the writer of the Dark Knight Returns comic book. But yes, Peter Weller was great. Is a really great choice as Batman for the voice, and animation's pretty damn good too. Batman Year One, really great. Bryan Cranston as you have Bryan Cranston as Gordon. And actually, the guy who plays Gordon on Gotham as Batman. Batman Assault for Arkham, or Assault on Arkham, really, really great. I liked Assault on Arkham a lot. That was pretty good. And then Son of Batman. I was kind of less crazy about this one. Son of Batman was good. It had the Damian Wayne story in it. I think there was a little wishy-washy stuff in there. But overall, it was a pretty decent movie. I liked Assault on Arkham better, because I watched them around the same time. I did a Danz Newz reviews on those a while back. Snatch. I actually bought this movie 3 times. Is that ridiculous? I bought it each time because I was like, I would see it on Amazon, it was super cheap, and I wasn't sure I had it, because back in the day I didn't know what Blu-rays I owned. So I bought this 3 separate times, if you could believe it. I traded in the other 2 after a certain point, but I hadn't realized. And I still haven't watched it yet. That's the funniest thing. Slumdog Millionaire, haven't seen it, heard amazing things. Spy Game, that's a really good one. Brad Pitt and Robert Redford back in the day. Spy with Melissa McCarthy. I have a soft spot for Melissa McCarthy, and Jason Statham's hilarious in it. Speed, great movie. Keanu Reeves, and some Sandra Bullock. Great movie. Pop Quiz Hot Shot. Source Code, really good Duncan Jones movie. It's second best behind Moon, and Warcraft was pretty good, but kind of wonky-ish. So I would definitely say one of his better movies there, Source Code. The Sound of Music, what a great movie. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Some Like It Hot, this is a classic Jack Lemmon and what's his name, Tony Curtis. And Marilyn Monroe. Great movie. You should definitely watch it if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic, and it's aged pretty well. The Social Network, it's just a black case that says The Social Network on it, and it's all dark, and it says, you don't get to 500 million friends without making a few enemies. Good, fast-talking Fincher Sorkin movie. Definitely a movie that further launched, or not further launched, but further solidified Sorkin and Fincher in general as powerhouses within the industry. Snow White and the Huntsman. Still haven't seen this all the way through. I've seen a fair bit of it, but never watched it all the way through. Snowpiercer, still haven't watched this yet. I guess are they adapting this into a TV show, I believe? But just, another comic book adaptation that Chris Evans has done on top of the 6 other comic book movies that he has done. Promised Land with Matt Damon and John Krasinski. I think they wrote that together, maybe? Pretty sure. Haven't seen it yet. Looked really good. I like both those actors, so that's why I bought it. I think it's directed by Gus Van Sant as well. Prometheus. I love this movie. I love this movie a lot. I think there's a lot of really... I think it was needlessly... vague about some stuff, and the extra deleted scenes and stuff on this actually explain bullshit that they should have just left in. It was good, and I thought Covenant was alright as well. different flavor from Prometheus, but more alien than Prometheus. Priest, this is kind of on par with Legion that I had earlier. These were 2 movies that were produced around the same time with Paul Bettany and the director of both movies, because apparently Sony and Screen Gems were like, yeah, this is going to be the hot next group, and so they produced both these movies back to back. Legion didn't do too well, and they were like, oh shit, well, we're making Priest, so yeah, and that movie also didn't do too well. I also hate movies that end with a cliffhanger that are like, yeah, we're gonna have a sequel, and then they didn't do well, so they don't have a sequel, which really fucking sucks. So don't end your movies with a fucking thing for more story. Finish your story within your story. Have some elements that maybe go to the next thing, but don't be so blatant about it where it's just like, we're not going to give you an ending because more. Pride and Glory, this is Gavin O'Connor's, I think, first movie. The guy who did Warrior and The Accountant and such. If you haven't seen this, I'd say give it a shot. It's a really good movie. It reminds me of like a Law & Order movie, if they made a Law & Order movie, but it's with a little bit more corruption. I thought this was really good. Apparently the production was hell, and for some reason in all the special features, Colin Farrell is cut out of everything. Like, they cut around Colin Farrell, except for footage, like, even footage in the movie, they cut around Colin Farrell. It's really strange. And the director has kind of like a personal vlog where he talks about how tough it is to work with Edward Norton, and they show some really kind of interesting things behind the scenes. So just as a cinematic moment alone with the behind the scenes stuff, it's interesting to check out. State of Play, this is an interesting movie with the comeback of the comeback of Ben Affleck. It was kind of when he kind of came back and started to do more serious roles after kind of the flop of Geely and everything. He took a bit of time off. This was a adaptation of a British, I believe, miniseries, and it's very, very, very good. State of Play. Russell Crowe. Stranger Than Fiction, what a weird movie. What a weird movie, but a good one with Will Ferrell. Colin Farrell was in a couple movies ago. The Patriot with Mel Gibson. This is a staple of the Gidlow family. We love this movie because the Patriot, yeah, USA, USA. That's a weird looking Photoshop looking thing. Stand Up Guys, directed by Fisher Stevens, who played Chuck on Early Edition, if you ever watched that show back in the day. Starring Alan Arkin, Al Pacino, and Christopher Walken. I haven't seen it yet, but Ted Gidlow is a producer on the movie, and I've never met him. But his last name is Gidlow. He hasn't been at any of the reunions. I don't know who he is. The Possession of Michael King. This was one of the ones out of the bargain bin that I just grabbed. Every once in a while I'll just grab a movie out of the bargain bin. I used to do that a lot more. This isn't that great. It was kind of forgettable. Platoon, still haven't seen that. That's one of the essentials I haven't seen. I've heard amazing things about it. Phone Booth, really great movie. Joel Schumacher again, the guy who did Batman and Robin. This is after Batman and Robin, and I think it's a really interesting movie. It all takes place in the phone booth, and I think it plays out really well. Him and Colin Farrell and Keith Sutherland are really great. The Phantom of the Opera is here, inside this box. The Phantom is great, by the way. Billy Zane. If you don't know who Billy Zane is, he was in Titanic, he was the bad guy. He's great. Love me some Billy Zane. Love you, Billy Zane. Billy Zane, you're not watching this. Why am I talking to you? Queen of the Damned. Aaliyah's, wasn't it her first movie? And then she passed away in the plane crash, I believe. Shortly thereafter. I think it was before the movie came out. I bought this because I have Interview with a Vampire, and I wanted just the Anne Rice movies. I still haven't seen it, though. The Purge Anarchy. I thought this one was pretty good. This is the second one. I haven't seen the third one yet, but first one's kind of eh. Second one was a bit better. Curious to see about the third one, and there's a Purge TV show coming out soon. Puncture, this is a movie about Needles and Chris Evans, and this is a good one. He does a lot of good kind of like on-the-side dramas when he's not doing superhero movies, and it's pretty good. Public Enemies with Johnny Depp, Christian Bale. It's a little bland, but still good. Michael Mann movie. The Revenant, fantastic fucking movie. Really, really great. Rescue Dawn, another good one. That's a POW Christian Bale movie, really good. Requiem for a Dream. This is one of the most uncomfortable movies I've ever seen in my life. It's not too often where I watch a movie that makes me feel anxious while I'm watching it, and if you can do that, that's excellent. There's only a couple times where I've been like really tense and or anxious watching a movie. One was Brothers with Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, and Natalie Portman. and then this. Both those movies. Well, Brothers was more about tension, and I have that on DVD, not Blu-ray. But that one's more about the tension of the film. This one just has like this building anxiety throughout the movie. And Liz loves it when I go, I'm gonna be on television! This is one I was thinking about the other day, Street Kings. Now, this is John Wick before John Wick was the thing. This is Keanu Reeves going through and shooting. There's some really great action sequences in this movie where he's just going through and taking out a room. It's Keanu Reeves, Chris Evans, Forrest Whitaker, Hugh Laurie, Jay Moore, Common. There's a lot of people in this movie, and it's just a really good, gritty LA, gangster cop movie. Super 8, J.J. Abrams. Way too many lens flares, but it's still a good movie. Straw Dogs. I haven't seen this. This is the original, not the remake with lady from Superman Returns and the guy from Superman Returns, James Marsden and Boswell. Kate Boswell? I think that's her name. She has 2 different colored eyes. One's blue, one's green. Taken, the 2-disc extended cut. This is the movie of Liam Neeson's career for the last 7, 8 years. It definitely revived him as far as action stardom goes. And for better or worse, it's for better. Let's be honest. It was for better. Sweeney Todd and the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Good movie. Love it. It's one of, there aren't too many Tim Burton movies that I'm like goo goo gaga over, so yeah. Superbad, really funny, great movie. I saw that in theaters. Raising Arizona, really great Coen Brothers movie. Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter, really hilarious. Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise. That's a good one. I went to high school with Dustin Hoffman's niece. That was interesting. I remember her saying, I was like, what's your favorite Dustin Hoffman movie? Because I was like super into Dustin Hoffman. She's like, Rain Man, but I haven't really seen anything else. That's not what she sounded like. The Raid Redemption, excellent fucking movie. Really great action sequences. I still haven't seen the second one. It's a crime I haven't seen the second one. Raging Bull, Robert De Niro, I haven't seen this one. But I've always heard really great things. Scorsese and De Niro can't go wrong. Man, they're doing Scorsese and Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci and a lot of other big actors are doing a movie on Netflix. It's gonna be nuts. Reign of Fire with Christian Bale and all right, Matthew McConaughey. This is a really great one. Not really. The effects are terrible. The effects have not aged well, but it's an alright movie. And Matthew McConaughey is very not Matthew McConaughey-like in this. This is a random one that I bought. Red Lights with Robert De Niro and Ashley Olsen and other people, Cillian Murphy. I still haven't seen it yet, so I can't really talk about it, but it looked interesting at the time. Although since then I kind of haven't heard anybody talk about it. Red Dragon, I have like all of the Hannibal movies except for Manhunter. Which was the original that doesn't have Anthony Hopkins. But I have all the Anthony Hopkins Hannibal Lecter movies. Red with Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, Helen Mirren, and John Malkovich. This was an interesting one. It's funny. It's another more by the numbers movie. Carl Urban's in it too. He has the F-bomb in this movie. It's pretty funny. But it's just ridiculous fun action stuff. Doesn't take itself too seriously. The Reader, I haven't seen this, but this I remember was a big Oscar contender back in the day. It was pretty good. The Recruit, this is a really great, this is one of the movies that really made me love Al Pacino and Colin Farrell a shit ton. Like this, after I saw this movie, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure just from everything I've seen Al Pacino in that he's my favorite actor. Like he's just such a great actor. And this is a really good movie if you haven't seen it. Ransom, really good Ron Howard, Mel Gibson movie. Give me back my son, give me back my son. I have the Simpsons movie. Silver Linings Playbook. I have a lot of David O. Russell films. Well, a couple of them at least. Sleepy Hollow, the Tim Burton remake with Christina Ricci and Johnny Depp. The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, can't go wrong with that. Sin City with Bruce Willis, and the host of other characters and actors, including the late Brittany Murphy. Really good movie. I think this is one I go back to every once in a while, though, and I'm like, oh, this is a little bit longer than I thought, and it kind of dips in the middle. There's some of the stuff with Benicio del Toro, maybe, who was it? Benicio del Toro and Clive Owen was a little weird, but other than that, interesting movie, and Boogie Nights, another Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I haven't seen this one. This is, I think, his first one, right? This is the one that kind of put him on the map. I've seen a lot of his movies, but I haven't seen this one. I started with Magnolia and moved from there. But this is one of the earlier ones that I've always heard really great things about, but haven't seen. The Book of Eli. This movie's excellent. I saw this in theaters. It was directed by, the Hughes brothers. I actually have Broken City somewhere. It's right here, which was directed by one of the Hughes brothers, I believe. Broken City with Mark Wahlberg and Russell Crowe. I haven't seen that yet, but I bought it just because they directed this. I love this movie so very, very much. Book of Eli is excellent. Gary Oldman, Denzel Washington, Mila Kunis. Really, really good movie. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's really great. And it was quite a surprise. I remember going to see that because I just wanted to see Denzel Washington kick people's asses because he's one of my favorite actors. And I came out, just loving that so much more, and loving him so much more. It's such a great movie. Martyrs. This is a really good one. This is a French horror film. It's interesting the way it plays out. You need to watch this movie to kind of see what's going on because it's a good one, but it's also really violent and it's out there. Anonymous. This is a Roland Emmerich film about, did Will Shakespeare really write his own plays? I guess there's conspiracy theories about that and stuff. But I haven't watched it, but it looked good, and I like Rhys Ifans. So, well, I have Boondock Saints 2 All Saints Day. I don't know where the first one is. Where's the first one? Did it get separated from its brothers? I don't know where the first one is. I haven't seen the second one. I've only seen the first one, so I don't know. But Clifton Collins Jr. is in this one, so I like him. So next up I have Cape Fear, both versions. I have the remake, the Scorsese remake, and the original with Robert Mitchum and Gregory Peck. Really great movie. The original is so fucking good. If you've never seen the original, I definitely say check that out. The remake was definitely more of a modernization of it, and it goes like, what a modern kind of creepy person would do and all that stuff, and they changed it up a little bit, and certainly I've seen parts of the remake, so I've seen kind of the similarities and stuff. But yes, both are just so good. So good. Definitely recommend those. Casablanca, haven't seen it. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. That's Gone with the Wind. Alright. Beetlejuice, really good, but that's not how they spell his name in the movie, so I always wondered why they spelled it that way, because it's spelled Beetlegeist in the movie. I don't know why they spell it juice, because they probably just figured it was going to be confusing for people. Big Fish, another Tim Burton movie. That's 2 Tim Burton movies in a row. Big Fish, this is a really sweet Tim Burton movie. If you haven't seen it, I think it's a little bit overlooked and not talked about enough. But it makes me cry every single time I watch it, and Jessica Lange is amazing in it, and so is Albert Finney and Billy Crudup and Ewan McGregor. It's just a really great cast and really great things. Birdman, I haven't finished this yet. I've watched most of it, or a fair bit of it, and it's good from what I've seen so far, but I haven't seen it all. So, yeah. It's kind of funny that Michael Keaton plays the bad guy in the new Spider-Man movie, and Emma Stone played his daughter in Birdman. And she was in the last Spider-Man movies. That's something I just thought about right now. Black Dynamite. Holy shit. Dynamite. Dynamite. I love Black Dynamite. It's amazing. Michael J. White is incredible in this. This movie's so good. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's hilarious. It's kind of a take on a lot of the blaxploitation movies of the 70s. And all that jazz, and it's so funny. It's so funny. Black Snake Moan, I saw a little bit of this in school. I remember we watched it in one of my things, in one of my classes. I remember my teacher was like, are we supposed to be watching this? But yeah, I watched a little bit of it, and interesting movie, to say the least. Justin Timberlake's in that. I haven't watched that much of it. Black Swan, this is a fucked up movie. This movie gets weird and crazy, and Darren Aronofsky, can't go wrong. Blade Runner, I still haven't watched this yet. I talked about this earlier a little bit to the chat. This is a movie that I haven't been able to get through. This is the 5-disc complete collector's edition. It has every version of the movie known to man, and I haven't watched any one of them because this movie makes me fall asleep. It's just so slow at the beginning, and I lose interest. And I really should just sit down and lock myself in a room one day and watch this. Particularly before the new movie comes out, because that would be probably good. Any Given Sunday, I've seen parts of this movie. I've seen the speech scene and a lot of really great moments of that, so I definitely want to watch that. And it's probably, if I had seen that when I was a kid, I probably would have even loved Al Pacino even more. Apollo 13, excellent movie. You've all probably seen that, I imagine. Up next, Argo. Argo, fuck yourself. What a great movie. I'm just quoting the movie by saying that. Argo is, this is a fantastic movie. I love Ben Affleck. The movies he's done so far. I still haven't seen Live by Night yet, but I heard mixed things about that. But Argo, between Argo, The Town, and Gone Baby Gone, Ben Affleck has displayed that he's a fantastic director, and I'm interested to see Live by Night and see how that goes. The Artist, I still haven't seen this yet. It's the silent movie that won Best Picture in I think 2012 or around when it came out. I can't remember what year specifically. Yeah, it was 2012, I believe, and or 2011, one of the two. Just looks really, really good, and also has John Goodman. He was in Argo as well. Bad Los Angeles. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I think a lot of people kind of crapped on it at the time. Jonathan Liebesman directed it, the guy who did the first TMNT movie, which I also liked. I think he makes movies that are kind of bland, but also still likable for some reason. Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe, Ron Howard. Excellent movie. Excellent, excellent movie. This is another one that's tough not to watch and not cry when watching, because it's just so sweet and sad and amazing, and it's just really good. Antoine Fisher, this is another one that's tough to get through without crying. Antoine Fisher, this was Denzel Washington's directorial debut. I used to have a poster of this in my at my house in my room growing up, because I used to go to Premiere's Video, and they would always have the movie. Well, first off, the employees would have first pick of the movie posters, and then I would pick up any ones that they didn't pick. So I had the poster for Antoine Fisher up in my bedroom, and my mom bought it for me on DVD. Really, really, really great movie. I think it was one of the first movies that Derek Luke was in. He was in, if you didn't know, he was part of the Howling Commandos in Captain America, the first one, First Avenger. He was part of that crew. And he pops up every once in a while. I don't see him in too much these days, but he's a fantastic actor, and both him and Denzel are great in it, and it's just a good movie. It's sad, though. It's definitely sad. We have Lawless with Shia LaBeouf and Tom Hardy. I thought that was really great. I haven't seen it since the theaters, but I bought it just because I loved it so much in the theaters. Layer Cake, that's a really good one. Daniel Craig. I challenge you to name his character. The Bridge on the River Kwai. Really, really great movie. Alec Guinness, another kind of POW camp movie. I have a couple POW camp movies. Really, really good movie if you haven't seen it. I think Robert Mitchum's in this, right? Right? No. Oh, William Holden. I always get William Holden and Robert Mitchum mixed up sometimes. That and William Holden's in a few different POW camp / World War II movies. He was in Stalag 17, which is a fucking great movie. That's such a good movie. I don't know why I don't have that. That was the precursor to like Hogan's Heroes and stuff. But yeah, this is a 4K digital restoration. It's not a 4K Blu-ray, but they restored it to 4K, and so this is like a version of it. But yeah, really great movie. Definitely recommend it. Great war film. Body of Lies with Ben Affleck. No, not Ben Affleck. Leonardo DiCaprio and Russell Crowe. Good movie. Leo looks weird, and Russell Crowe looks weird, and it's a Michael Mann film. So yeah. Bronson. I've talked about this ad nauseum on Creature Talk and other things. You see Tom Hardy's dick in this, and it's amazing, but that's not the only highlight. This is one of Nicholas Winding Refn's earlier films, I'm pretty sure this was before Drive. Yeah, this was definitely before Drive, pretty sure, yes. And just an excellent, weird, artsy movie. It's good. The Campaign, still haven't seen this yet. Probably should watch it soon, at some point. Probably would have been more apt watching it last year during the election season, but you know what? The Campaign with Will Ferrell. Caddyshack, this is one of the essentials I haven't seen either. I've seen parts of this. I've seen clips of Bill Murray, and he looks hilarious in this. He's on the back there, actually. But Caddyshack, never seen it. I've heard so many good things about it. The Cabin in the Woods, another Matt Reeves movie, right? No, or I always get Matt Reeves and the other guy mixed up. Drew Goddard, I'm sorry, not Matt Reeves. Drew Goddard directed this. It was written by Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard. Really, really good movie. Definitely recommended it if you haven't seen it. Cabin in the Woods, it's hilarious. Hilarious. The Butterfly Effect, Ashton Kutcher. This is a depressing as fuck movie, but it's a good one. The Night I Got Mugged at the Movie Theaters. If you've never heard this, I had my nose broken a long ass time ago. I'll probably make a video at some point telling the story. I've told it before on Creature Talk, though, I'm pretty sure. The Butterfly Effect. My brother went and saw this, and I went and saw Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. And then afterwards I got mugged, because his movie was still going, and I went out to the car, and it was midnight. So, yeah. And it was in Garner, North Carolina. If you don't know Garner, it's in kind of a shady part. That movie theater I don't think is up anymore, though, that United Artists. So, fuck United Artists. I got my nose broken because of that movie, but I don't care, because it's a good movie. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Once again, another essential I've never seen. I've only heard amazing things about this movie. Robert Redford and, Cool Hand Luke. Jesus, Paul Newman. Robert Redford, Paul Newman. I haven't seen any movies that they've been in together, but I've seen so many movies of them that they haven't. Weren't they in The Sting together? I could be wrong. But either way, love both those actors. I've only heard amazing things about it. It's kind of ridiculous I haven't seen it. Bruno. Yes, Bruno. Yes, Bruno. Bruno. I saw this in theaters with Joe, Artist Joe, and I could not stop laughing at the Middle Earth joke. We headed to Middle Earth when they were going to the Middle East. It was hilarious. The Manchurian Candidate. This is a good one. This is a remake of the Frank Sinatra movie from back in the day. But really, really, really great movie. Directed by the late Jonathan Demme. Really great director. And this is one of his films that is certainly fantastic. You can't go wrong with Denzel and Liev Schreiber. Dread with Carl Urban. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Clockwork Orange, Kubrick movie. I still haven't seen that all the way through. It's pretty good though, from what I've seen. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Click, I've never seen it. One day. Clerks and Clerks 2. I love me some Kevin Smith. Say what you will about him, but I think he's a fascinating dude. He's hit or miss with his movies sometimes, and I haven't seen them all, but I think he's a competent filmmaker, and I think he's a little hard on himself sometimes. And he's a funny dude when he wants to be. Chocolat with Johnny Depp and that lady, I can't remember her name. Juliette Binoche, how could I forget her name? Alfred Molina, a lot of different people in that movie. Dame Judi Dench, that's a good one. The Blues Brothers, I still haven't seen this all the way through. I've seen parts of it. We're on a mission from Gad. A little bit of Uncle Tommy in there. A little Chicago accent in there. Blow, that's a good one. I hadn't seen that all the way through until recently. Blood Simple, that's the Coen Brothers' first movie. I have not seen it, but I own it, so I could kind of have an education in Coen's one day. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Oh, chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang. No, okay. Bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang. My 5'4" friend or a friend. Children of Men. I have never seen this all the way through, but there's shots in this that are amazing. It's directed by Alfonso Cuarón, guy who did Gravity and Prisoner of Azkaban and different movies. He's an excellent filmmaker, and there's some really breathtaking sequences in this movie, and I just haven't finished it. And Michael Caine plays like a fucking pothead out in the middle of the woods, so that's hilarious. Chicago. If you've ever heard me say "and all that jazz," great musical, directed by Rob Marshall, guy who did like Into the Woods and other stuff. I like Into the Woods a fair bit as well. I don't own that one though. Although I do have the soundtrack. The soundtrack's amazing. Casino, I still have not seen this movie. Is that wrong? Is that wrong that I haven't seen Casino? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. Kevin Pollak talks about it all the time on the chat show. My Cousin Vinny, excellent movie. This is my favorite Joe Pesci movie, hands down. My favorite Marissa Tomei movie. I'm going to be going to see Spider-Man: Homecoming later, but Marissa Tomei, excellent in it. Definitely deserved the Academy Award for her role, Best Supporting Actress. Amazing. That movie is so quotable. Two Utes, just fucking so many different things. The Babadook, whether it's in a phrase or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook, right? Oh, if it's in a word or it's in a book, you can't get rid of the Babadook. Dook. That's a good one. If you haven't seen the Babadook, spooky. Housebound. This was one that Liz and I saw at the Denver horror film, the Mile High Horror Fest at the Alamo Draft House a couple years ago, and you know, we signed up for the VIP thing so we could go see as many movies as we wanted, and we kind of just went through each day with the programming and picked out every single movie we wanted to see, and just kind of basing it off of the brief description, and this was a major surprise. So we got to see this months and months and months before it came out on Blu-ray, and before it eventually, I think it might be on Netflix now. So you should definitely check out this movie. It's a really fun Kiwi, New Zealand horror film, comedy. It's so great. It has the New Zealand spirit all stamped all over it, and it's hilarious and funny and scary, and it's good. It's a good movie. It was a huge surprise and my favorite movie of that fest. The Lego Movie, speaking of surprises, this is a movie that I wouldn't have given a shit about. Well, I mean, I love Legos. I love Legos, but it very easily could have just been a shitty, kiddie tie-in to something. But this ended up being something very special. Got snubbed at the Oscars for Best Animated Film. Didn't even get nominated, which is ridiculous. This movie was so amazing. And definitely deserved to at least been nominated. I would have voted it Best Animated Picture that year, though. Blazing Saddles. This is a great movie. Isn't anybody going to help that poor man? This is, again, another really endlessly quotable movie and very, very good. I love it. Mel Brooks, can't go wrong. Such a good movie. The Blair Witch Project. I had never seen this from beginning to end until we saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse, again for the, well, this might have been a separate screening. No. It might have been for the Mile High Horror Festival. The directors were there. Eduardo Sanchez, and Dan Myrick were there at the Alamo. They did a Q&A either before or after the movie. I can't remember. But it was just so special watching or hearing them talk about the movie and then seeing it projected on film. It was a film projected movie, which is kind of weird, because a lot of it's filmed in on digital, or on tape, on videotape. But it looks gorgeous on film. Like it was really cool seeing it in that way. So it's film projected, super cool. I love seeing movies film projected because that's how I grew up watching movies. Now everything's digital projected, and yes, it's more better. There's less flicker. It's more clear. But there's something about film projection. I saw Interstellar film projected at the Alamo. And that was an experience. Like it just, for somebody who grew up with it, it takes me back. Nostalgia. So Blair Witch, very, very good movie. I had always seen parts of it growing up, but I was always kind of a younger kid, so I didn't quite get it. Catch Me If You Can, really excellent Spielberg movie that you should definitely see if you haven't. Awakenings, this is one of Robin Williams' more serious movies with Robert De Niro, directed by Penny Marshall, and just a really good kind of medical drama, sort of uplifting somewhat, and kind of sad movie. It's a good one. And last out of that box, Castaway. Robert Zemeckis, Tom Hanks. Certainly an achievement of a film. This was a really good one. So we have Silent House. This is a movie, I guess it was one shot. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a lot of my movies, but it's all one shot, kind of, it's one of those fudged one-shot movies, but it all takes place in real time, I guess was the shtick of that, and I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's all right. I think it's a remake, maybe. Schindler's List. I've never seen Schindler's List, ever, in my life. It's one of the essentials. I need to watch this at some point. Gone Girl, excellent film. Ben Affleck, you see a little bit of his dick in that. Just, a PSA to all of you. The Grey, Liam Neeson. I saw this in theaters twice. This was the first movie that we all went and saw at the theaters in the first Creature House. I had seen it just before I flew out here, and there's a horrific plane crash at the beginning of this movie, and I had never flown on a plane before. And I was like, oh, that's a great thing to see just before I fly for the first time. But I made everybody go see it. I was like, this movie's great, we should all go see it. And we all left the theater. We went into the theater, and we came out, and it was snowing. And we were like, where are the wolves? It's a really great movie. It's super fun. It was super fun going to see it with all those guys. We have Annabelle. I have this and The Conjuring. I don't have the second Conjuring, like I said before, but excited for Annabelle 2. It looks pretty good. It's directed by the guy who did Lights Out. I liked Lights Out a fair bit, so excited for that. Annabelle's pretty damn great. It's directed by the director of photography of the Conjuring movie. And the second, I think he did, no, he didn't do the second movie, but he's the director of photography of the first Conjuring, directed Annabelle, which is interesting, because they're both shot really well. King Kong, the Peter Jackson movie, really, really great. I don't know, Kong Skull Island and King Kong are very different movies. I wouldn't say they're very comparable, so because I was about to say maybe that was better than Kong Skull Island, but I don't know, I don't think they're really in the same league. Kong Skull Island is a very different movie. Looper, this was one of my birthday movies from, I think, 2012. We all went and saw that. That was super fun. Little Miss Sunshine, I've never seen this. I've heard this is a really sad movie, and or just really good movie, but I haven't seen it. Lincoln, I've never watched this all the way through. I've watched a little bit of it. Daniel Day-Lewis is amazing as Lincoln. I just couldn't get through it at the time because I was working on a bunch of shit. So never got to finish it. But it's over 60 minutes of bonus. Of bonus what? That's all it says. Les Miserables.
Now, prisoner 24601, your time is up and your parole's begun. You know what that means.
Yes, it means I'm free.
No. Follow to the letter your itinerary.
Anyway, Russell Crowe, I love you, man. I have the soundtrack to this, and I used to listen to it on the car ride to work every single day, and I tried to memorize Hugh Jackman's What have I done? Sweet Jesus, what have I done? Become a thief in the night, become a dog on the run. Have I fallen so far, and is the hour so late, that nothing remains but the cry of my hate? I love that. I love that movie. I'm so sorry.
Now, prisoner 24601.
The Town, fantastic movie. Ben Affleck's second directorial film. He starred in this one, has Jimmy Renner and Rebecca Hall, and a lot of good actors. Very good movie. John Hamm. Very, very good movie. Well acted, well directed. I saw that the day after I saw Heat for the very first time ever in my life. And that was a mistake, because Heat is an amazing movie, but they're very similar. Like, The Town and Heat are so similar. Total Recall, the remake, I have the original as well. That might be in the box somewhere else. But Total Recall, Colin Farrell running around with a piano strapped to his back. Transcendence with Johnny Depp. That was an interesting movie. That was Wally Pfister's directorial debut. He's Christopher Nolan's cinematographer for his movies up to Interstellar, not including Interstellar. Interesting film, very well shot, but kind of, it's good. It's good. I need to go back and watch it again. I've only seen it the once in theaters, but I liked it when I saw it. Lawrence of Arabia, I have not seen this all the way through. I've seen a fair bit of this growing up. This is actually the special edition. It came with a cool little film cell and stuff like that, in a big box as well, but I kind of took it out and just kept it in its little case form. Ladder 49, saw this in theaters, made me cry. Knocked Up, Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl. It's the only Katherine Heigl movie I'm pretty sure I own. A Knight's Tale, this is a great one. I grew up with this movie. Heath Ledger, this is the movie that really had put Heath Ledger on my map growing up. This and 10 Things I Hate About You were excellent, and he was a talent gone too soon. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, this is Shane Black. I think this is his first movie, right? Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I've seen a good chunk of this movie. Hilarious. Shane Black does really good buddy, like, if you've seen The Nice Guys, it's very Nice Guys-y, and Nice Guys is really good too. The King's Speech, excellent movie. Colin Firth, Jeffrey Rush, fantastically acted, directed by Tom Hooper. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, I did a Dan Series reviews on this a while ago. This is one I thought I would be really engaged in, considering the actors and the talent involved, but I really couldn't plug into it so much. I think I need to watch it again at some point, see if I really can plug into it again, because it just seemed kind of boring, and I like boring, dry, like, you know, espionage, kind of like international, intrigue, all that stuff. Based on John le Carre's novel, and I don't know, I think I need to go back and watch it again, because I don't think I was very fair to it the first time I saw it. There it is, Boondock Saints, there's the first one. Boondock Saints, good movie, I like it. It's a little weird, but definitely a good one. Braveheart, Mel Gibson, you can take our lives, but you can never take our freedom. Boyhood, this movie is kind of like, one of the reasons why I like it so much is because it for the most part, traveled along my age, you know? This kind of followed the years that my life was like growing up, you know, particularly the pop culture stuff, but also I just like the story a lot. It's definitely a basic story that's enhanced by the fact that it was filmed throughout time. They kind of took a break every single year and came back every year with the same cast and the same crew, and kept making and filmed parts of the movie, so it just progresses throughout the years, and it's really interesting to see people grow up. And it's such an interesting project from Richard Linklater. So, yes. I have the Dragon Tattoo trilogy. This is the Swedish trilogy with Noomi Rapace. It has the girl with the dragon tattoo, girl who played with fire, and the girl who kicked the hornet's nest. It has all 3 of them. I've only seen about half of the first one, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and then I have Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the American remake, that I have seen all the way through. I guess they're making, the guy who did, what is it, Fede Alvarez, the guy who did Evil Dead and Don't Breathe, is doing the second one, Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, or The Girl Who Played with Fire, I guess, and is going to be recasting it, so it's not going to be off of the Fincher movie. I don't know, but they're doing more of those, so keep an eye out for those, I guess. I don't know. Last of the Mohicans, I saw a little bit of this in school. I caught a little bit of this, but I think I, for some reason, had to leave the class that day for some... Can't remember why. But I saw parts of this, and Daniel Day-Lewis is pretty damn great. Speaking of the last of things, The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. This is a good one. If you like movies where white people come in and save the day. Law-Abiding Citizen, that's a good one. It's gonna be biblical. With Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx. I saw that in theaters. That was a pleasant surprise. I liked how that one went. Limitless, I still haven't watched this yet. They had a TV show that came out with this that Bradley Cooper was in that got canceled. Well, he appeared in it briefly. I guess that's his character. But never seen it. I've heard good things about it and definitely need to check it out at some point. Traffic, haven't seen it. Directed by Steven Soderbergh. I like a lot of his movies, so I've always heard good things about that one. Totally recall the original. Far better than the remake. Then I have the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy, Blue Harvest, Something 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 Dark Side, and It's a Trap. These are all, if you love Star Wars, you'll love these. They do not skimp on these. They are amazingly well done and hilarious. And then we got Troy the Director's Cut, because I own that for some reason. These are the last kind of regular Blu-rays before we get into weird, like, multi-collection Blu-rays. If Training Day, I still haven't seen this yet. I'm sorry. Troll 2. Oh, it's loose in there. What the hell? Troll 2, stay in your fucking... There you go. Troll 2, the 20th Anniversary Edition, Nilbog Edition, I'm sorry. Nilbog, it's goblin spelled backwards! This is a weird movie. If you've seen the documentary Best Worst Movie Ever, it's kind of depressing, actually, some of the stuff about this movie, but what a weird movie. The words, I don't know why I own this. Bradley Cooper, Zoe Saldana, really good cast. They looked good at the time. Again, one of those movies I haven't heard anything about since it came out. But I bought that at the time when it came out. Zombieland, really good one. We were talking about that earlier with the chat. That's a really great one. Bill Murray's fantastic in that. A little forgettable, but I haven't really seen it since the theaters, so that's why, mainly. But good cast, good writing. Tropic Thunder, fantastic movie. I watched that not too long ago. That movie is hilarious. I saw that in theaters, so that was a really funny one. U-571, this is a submarine movie with Matthew McConaughey and such. I have never watched this one, but I'd imagine it's sad. It was just one that was always on my radar, but never got to check out. Tusk! Speaking of Kevin Smith movies that I really, really like, this one's good. I like this one a lot. I think, I don't know if it did too well, but I like this movie a lot. I think it's really, really good. It has kind of a random ending, but it gets fucked up, and I like it a lot. I think Kevin Smith is particularly, I think Red State's his best movie, but Tusk is really good, and I think it was an interesting follow-up. The Truman Show, another Peter Weir movie. That movie is so much ahead of its time. Predicted reality television before reality television was even a thing, and kind of the internet. I mean, it's pretty much what we do is we watch people live their lives on the internet all day long. That's what I do. True Grit, Brothers remake, fantastic. I love both versions. This movie is really great. This version is really, really great, but the original is also really great. I grew up watching so many John Wayne movies, and True Grit was one of them. Rooster Cogburn was another. I would have loved to see the Coen Brothers maybe do more. I don't know how many books they had written with Rooster Cogburn, but Rooster Cogburn with Katharine Hepburn and John Wayne is really, really funny and a very good movie. Well, sister, The Wrestler, Mickey Rourke, Darren Aronofsky, really great comeback for him. Yes Man with Jim Carrey. This is one that I hadn't seen until a couple years ago. This is around where I kind of fell off with Jim Carrey watching his movies. I think the last one I had watched was Bruce Almighty. That's kind of where I had stopped. which was a good place to stop because it took place in Buffalo, New York, and that's where I grew up. So it was funny seeing Buffalo in a movie, or the Niagara Falls and stuff like that. It was fun because I grew up around there. So, but Yes Man, it's actually pretty good, and it's one of the few movies with Zooey Deschanel where I'm like, oh, she doesn't look dead behind the eyes in this movie. See, that's what I don't get, is she doesn't look like, oh, how are you doing, in that one, but she does in a lot of other ones. Young Frankenstein, excellent movie. This is a classic. I watched this movie so many times growing up. Frau Blucher, and all the other great jokes. Abby Normal. Put the candle back. Lots of really great stuff. Great movie. Zero Dark 30. I didn't even know I owned this. I haven't seen it yet, but Catherine Bigelow and all that jazz. Jason Clarke, Joel Edgerton, Chris Pratt's in this. Jessica Chastain. Lots of really great actors. So yeah, I'll check that out one day. Zodiac. I also haven't seen this either. Isn't this Fincher? Is this a Fincher movie? Right? Yes. Okay, Fincher. Zodiac. I've never seen it. Always heard really great things. That's why I bought it. One day I will check it out. Is it ridiculous the amount of movies I haven't seen? So these are random collections and double features and triple features and a lot of, like, what are those, multi-pack Blu-ray things. So we have this double feature of When a Stranger Calls and Happy Birthday to Me. I bought this for When a Stranger Calls because there's someone in the house. He keeps calling me and I don't know what to do. It's coming from inside the house. It's a pretty damn good movie. I had never seen When a Stranger Calls all the way through until not too long ago. This is the original, not the remake, by the way. So it's an interesting movie, and it has some really great performances. Charles Durning, he's pretty damn good in that movie. Fatherhood with Patrick Swayze and Life with Mikey. I bought this for Life of Mikey, not for Fatherhood with Patrick Swayze. But Life with Mikey is a movie I saw on TV a long time ago where Michael J. Fox plays like a talent scout guy for kids in like commercials and TV shows and stuff. It's a pretty interesting movie. Two movie pack, Hollywood Homicide and Hudson Hawk. I bought this for Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett. And I have no idea what Hudson Hawk is. The Ernest double feature. Ernest Goes to Camp and Camp Nowhere. Wait, I thought those were both the Ernest movies. Oh, Camp Nowhere. I didn't know I owned that movie. What the fuck? I bought this for Camp Nowhere, not Ernest Goes to Camp. I've never seen Ernest Goes to Camp. But I have Camp Nowhere, so that's interesting. That's a movie with Christopher Lloyd and some kids. That was on TV not too long ago. I actually watched a little bit of that. Equilibrium and Renaissance. Paris 2054. I've never seen Renaissance. I remember that looked all right. I think Daniel Craig's in that, right? Yeah, it's like an animated movie. But I bought this for Equilibrium. Equilibrium is a movie with Christian Bale and Sean Bean and Taye Diggs. That is a really fucking good movie. If you've never seen Equilibrium, it's interesting. It has gun kata, where they fight with guns. It's like hand-to-hand combat with guns. It's kind of like John Wick a little bit, for the most part. But it's a really good movie. You should definitely check it out. The Night Listener and Benefit of the Doubt, if I can fucking talk. Benefit of the Doubt. I bought this for The Night Listener. It's Robin Williams doing a serious movie. You can tell because he has a beard. And I haven't seen it, but I bought it for that, so I'll have to check it out at some point. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good cast. Robin Williams, Toni Collette, Bobby Cannavale, and Sandra Oh. So this was back when I used to buy movies all the time. I used to stick my arm in the bargain bin and pull something out, and if I didn't own it, I would buy it. So I have a lot of random ass movies from that period. Oh, I think I bought this for Blindness. Blindness and Proof. I bought this for Blindness. I guess it was Julianne Moore, Mark Ruffalo, and Dana Glover. I remember seeing the trailer for that. This is another random one. Salvage and Mortuary. I don't know what those are. Oh, this is a John Wayne pack. This has True Grit in it. Hondo, Once Upon a Time in the West, and True Grit. A lot of good westerns right there. Not all of them are John Wayne, but a couple of them are. Hondo's really great. That's a really great movie. True Grit, if you haven't seen the original, is really good. And I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in the West. I haven't seen a lot of the spaghetti westerns. I've more so seen just kind of the straight up, like Gary Cooper, like High Noon, and some John Wayne ones, and yeah. So I used to be a huge western fan. Oh my goodness, this is a movie I hate and a movie I love. Vertical Limit and Stealth. Speaking of Rob Cohen, my least favorite director, he directed Stealth, and that movie fucking blows. But Vertical Limit fucking blows, but it knows it fucking blows. No, I'm kidding. No, Vertical Limit I had on VHS growing up, so I was sure to get that on Blu-ray the second I could. When I saw that. So this is this is 3 movies I have not seen. Goonies and the Gremlins movies. This is Goonies, Gremlins, and Gremlins 2. I've never seen any of those movies, ever in my life. I've seen a scene towards the end of Goonies where it had that freaky looking dude, and that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And that's all I ever saw. I haven't really seen any of Gremlins, so one day. You haven't seen Goonies? I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I haven't seen the Goonies. It's ridiculous. The Austin Powers trilogy, that's all the Austin Powers movies. The 3 live-action Ninja Turtles movies. The originals. I like all those, but the third one's kind of shitty. The Richard Donner Superman. See, I got this for, one, it has Superman the movie, it has the original, but it also has the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, and I've never seen that. I've only ever seen the studio cut. And Superman Returns, which I don't think I own anywhere else. So yeah, I have the triple pack there. It's all Superman. Alpha Dog and Assault on Precinct 13. I haven't seen either of those, but I want to see both of those. Assault on Precinct 13 is a remake. Day After Tomorrow, The Happening, and Jumper. I got this mainly for Day After Tomorrow. I've never really seen The Happening all the way through. I've seen a fair bit of it on TV, though. It's such a shitty movie. And Jumper is also not that great, but Day After Tomorrow's alright. I just kind of got them because they're movies I've watched in my life. Swordfish, Point Break, and Executive Decision. I bought this for Executive Decision. Executive Decision was directed by Stuart Bayard, who is a filmmaker / editor. He's edited a lot of movies you've seen. He edited Skyfall. He edited Casino Royale. He did a lot of Bond movies. He directed Star Trek Nemesis. He directed U.S. Marshals. He edited Tomb Raider and the original Superman movie, the Richard Donner Superman movie. Like, he's a prolific editor-director throughout the years. He's only directed like 3 or 4 movies. And he still edits to this day. He did like 47 Ronin a couple years ago. He's still very, very active, and he's been an editor that anytime his name pops up in the credits, I'm like, sweet. But he's done some clunkers too. Here we go. The Loser. What was this? The Losers, Rock and Rolla, and Shoot 'Em Up. I actually have Shoot 'Em Up just by itself, but I bought this mainly for the Losers. I haven't seen Rock and Rolla, but I don't really know much about that, really. I got it for the Losers, though, just because I like that cast. And it has a couple people like the Losers. What is it? So Zoe Saldana, Idris Elba. It's pretty much people who are in a bunch of other Marvel movies, who are in this DC movie. It's a DC Vertigo movie. So it's kind of weird. Why the fuck did I buy this? This must have been one of the random ones. Too Young to Die and The Yards. Whatever the fuck those movies are. Apparently Brad Pitt's in one of them and Mark Wahlberg's in the other. Alright. Man, those are some casts. I don't even... The Yards stars Mark Wahlberg, Joaquin Phoenix, Charlize Theron, James Caan, Ellen Burstyn, and Faye Dunaway. That's an amazing cast. What is this movie about? Released from prison after taking the fall for a group of his friends, Leo Handler, Mark Wahlberg, just wants to get his life back on track. But when he takes a job with his powerfully influential Uncle Frank, James Caan, and reconnects with his old friend Willie, Joaquin Phoenix, Leo finds himself unwittingly drawn into the world of sabotage, high-stakes payoffs, and even murder. He discovers the secret that makes him the target of the city's most ruthless family, his own. Oh my god, that sounds interesting. Wait, this one has Mortuary too? I have Mortuary in a different pack. What the fuck? Okay, so Salvage, Memory, and Mortuary, where the fuck those are. Mortuary is in a different pack. And then, oh my gosh, this is a... What the fuck? This is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. So this has... What? What? This has 3 Blu-ray movies and 3 bonus DVDs. So this has Driven to Kill with Steven Seagal, Super Cop Jackie Chan, Brave 2-0 with Sean Bean, Project A with Jackie Chan, Project A2 with Jackie Chan, and Dragon Lord with Jackie Chan. So that must have been a random one I just grabbed out of the box as well. My goodness. My Blu-ray collection videos are done. Those are all the Blu-ray movies I own. I do have some TV shows, but they're packed up somewhere else. I'll maybe do a video about that soon if you guys are very interested in that. Most of my TV shows and stuff are DVDs though, so that's everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you everybody for so much for supporting and being so awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed me talk about movies for a few hours